Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us for the Unibuddy How to Set Up Community webinar. I'm Sherelle and I'll be your host for today. Some of you may be familiar with me if you have submitted a support request before, as I'm a member of the Unibuddy customer support team. If you could please hold all community related questions until the end of our webinar today, and we'll have some time to have a Q&A session. Alternatively, you'll have the opportunity to direct questions, comments, and feedback you have regarding the webinar to your customer success manager. If you have any questions regarding functionality, you can contact our support team via the chat bubble in your university dashboard after our webinar today. For your convenience, our webinar is also being recorded. Here's a quick outline of our agenda for the webinar today. I'll be giving you some more information on what Unibuddy Community is, how you will create your community, inviting users, logging into community and finding your group chats, functionality, and finally, upcoming feature releases. What is Unibuddy Community? Unibuddy Community is a product that allows prospective students to connect with institutions, their ambassadors, and each other in a group messaging environment. We took on our university partners' feedback and created an environment that gives you the ability to create and moderate group chats. The community group chat feature allows any invited prospects and ambassadors to browse a list of group chats and join freely. To begin creating your community, log into your university dashboard and select the Community tab on your navigation bar. Click the Create a New Community button. You'll have a pop-up which will allow you to give your community a title and a description. The description should give a clear outline of what the purpose of your community is. You can create more than one community as shown in the screenshot on the top right. You may wish to have communities for international students, postgraduate students, and offered prospective students, among others. For more information on the usage of community, please attend the following best practice webinar where this will be covered. Once you have created your brand new community, you will need to add your groups. There is no upper limit to the amount of groups you can create. Creating a group is easy to do. Locate the Groups tab in the Community feature. Then select the Create New Group button once you have created the group by giving it a title and description. You will see your newly created group in your Group Chats list. Your list will display both the group name and the description of the group. You can edit your group's name and the description that will show in your community. To edit the name or description, click on the Edit button. You will have the option to either make changes to the title, the description, or both. Once you are happy with your edit, click the Save button to have the changes updated. This will automatically update in real time in your community. To delete your group, select the delete icon to the right of the edit icon. The delete pop-up will appear. For extra security and to avoid the accidental deletion of your group, we ask you to authenticate by retyping the name of your group. Once you delete the group, this will be removed entirely from the platform in real time, meaning this will also be removed from your community. To invite users to your community, locate the Users tab. This is found beside the Groups tab. Add the preferred email address into the gray field, then select Review Invites. Once you select the Review Invites button, the email address will be transferred to your Review Invites section. You can then decide whether to send the invite with or without an email notification. If you intend to send out your own invitation via email or other communication, you can turn off the email notification toggle. Once an invite has been sent to your invited user, they will receive the invitation email. The image on the left is what the invitation will look like. If the user chooses to use the community app, it will be downloadable on the Google Play Store or App Store. If you scroll to the bottom of the email, there is also a link provided to the web browser version of Community. In the image to the right, you can see what clicking the web browser version looks like. You will have the option to either sign up to Community or log in. If you have invited a user who has an existing Unibuddy account, they do not need to create a new account. They can log in using their existing credentials. Once you log into your community, you will be navigated to the list of all communities you have been invited to. If you have created multiple communities in your university dashboard, they will appear here. Once you select the community you want to view, you will view a list of the groups under that community. If you have already accessed a group in Community, this will populate in the inbox area, as shown in the second screenshot. You will see a timestamp of the latest message in that group. You'll also see a preview of the last message sent in that group. If you can't see the group you want in your inbox list, clicking in the search box will show you the list of all of the groups available to you. If you begin searching with a few letters, all of the groups pertaining to your search will populate in your search list, and you can then select the group you want to enter. Once you have selected a group, you can identify who is using the group by selecting the 3-dot icon in the top right-hand corner. You will also see your group's description in this area. In the chat, you will be able to identify the different account user types by the indicators located next to their names. You will see in the picture displayed on the right, users will either have university admin, staff, or ambassadors allocated to their name. You will notice staff and ambassadors will also have a photo avatar, which makes them easily identifiable. Whilst you use your groups in your community, you will have the ability to reply to individual messages. You can like messages and delete messages. Admin and ambassadors will also notice they have the option to report a message from a prospective student. If a message is reported, the prospective student will be removed from your community. Currently, removal from the platform takes up to 2 minutes. Users also have the added functionality of being able to switch between communities in the app and web version. If you're a university admin, you may have created multiple communities that each serve a specific aspect of the student journey. Your prospective students can also switch between the different communities they have been invited to by multiple institutions. As you can see in the image to the left, switching between communities is simple and allows the prospects to return to your community with ease. We now have the opportunity to ask any questions you may have on the functionality of Community. Are there any questions? Yes, please, Jen B, go ahead. Hello. If you want to unmute and go ahead. We'll just go from some of the questions that are in our chat. I don't see where I can create a group. So you should have the navigation bar to the left-hand side on the university dashboard. You can scroll down to the community function to create a group, community. Once you've created your community and go into that community, you'll have the option to create groups. Does that help, Diana? Audrey also asks, do prospects need to be individually invited, or can we share a universal link inviting folks to opt in? Also, can prospects make a group or only admins? So each prospect does need to be individually invited to your community. There's not currently a universal link. Prospects cannot create their own groups. Only admins can actually create those groups. I hope that helps, Audrey Manny Hernandez. And then Audrey Savage has asked, if there's a function for students to suggest new groups they would like to have formed or create themselves. So currently, we don't have a specified function for suggestions on new groups. However, Audrey, I do think that's a great idea. So if you could actually pass this on to us in support or your customer success manager, we can actually raise this for our product team. Jen B has asked, can you only join a community that you have been invited to? Yes, you can only join once you have received an invitation to that community. Can we go over the moderation capabilities again? I can just go over some of the capabilities, Abhilash, and then also just to remind you, this session is recorded for us, so not to worry, because we can actually send that over to you. And then we also do have some really great help center articles that give information on the moderation capabilities. But as an admin, you'll have the ability to reply to a message in you'll have the ability to reply to a message. You'll also have the ability to like a message from an ambassador or prospect. You can also delete a message from ambassadors and prospects. And you will also have that added functionality of being able to report a message from a prospect. If you do report a message, that prospect will be removed from your platform within 2 minutes. I hope that helps. Is there a maximum number of people that can be invited to a group? That's from Bauer C. No, there's not actually an upper limit. So you can actually invite as many users to your group as you need to. I know currently we had some university users explaining that they were using WhatsApp for the group functionality. And I know there's a limit on that to approximately 30 people. So it's a great function that we can have as many people in the groups as needed. So Diana asked, I have a community and I see 4 people in it, but the group is not found. Diana, so you should be able to actually click into the search option and begin typing the name of your group, and that should populate for you. If you're still not seeing your group in your search function inside of community, you can pop a message or a live chat over to us on the support team by using the chat bubble in your university dashboard, and just giving us a little more information on what you're seeing when you do log into your community. And of course, we'll be happy to look into that further for you. Irina from Hunter College asks, do admins have to be invited differently somehow? I have invited a director who is an admin and community doesn't show up on his app. So there's not a different way to actually invite admins, everybody is invited in the same way. However, just from the last part of what you said, it doesn't show up on his app. The community's app is a separate app from the Unibuddy main app. So you do need to go to the App Store or Google Play Store and download the Unibuddy Community app, which is separate. And then again, we do have the web browser version. So you can log in using the existing credentials of the admin in order to log in, but you will be logging into the Unibuddy Community app, which would be different from the university admin login, the dashboard. I hope that helps, Irina. Irina raised hand. Yep, go ahead. Let's see. So just go. Nathan Bingham has asked, do you have to import their email address to invite people to a community, or can it be done via link? Yes, so everybody does need to be invited initially to the community before they're able to join and see that community and see the groups inside of that community. That is done in the area of where you send invites. You do have the option to either send that invite with an email notification, or you can toggle off so that there is no email invitation sent. But of course, in that instance, you would need to send your own email invite or confirmation or notification that that user has now been invited to use your community. Paula Javanen has asked, should we gather all emails from our prospective students to be able to add them to the community, or can we share the link that allows them to join? So yes, again, each prospective student needs to be added individually. So you do have the option of using that broadcast feature in the university dashboard to reach out to your prospects, or by any other means to start gathering those email addresses and inviting those students to your community. Lindsay has asked, if a prospective student clicks report, does it come to an admin first or remove the person reported from the platform? Or is it automatic, whoever clicks report? So the prospective students don't have the ability to report. It's the ambassadors and admin that have the ability to see the report feature and are able to report prospect messages. So the prospect would be essentially removed from your platform if a message is reported. I hope that helps, Lindsay. KTG has asked, how do you set up the invite email to look as if it comes from the university? Do you have an example you can show us? I don't have a version set up that looks like it comes from the university. The examples that were shown is how the invite email will look. It will have your university's logo in the top left-hand corner. It will have that Unibuddy imagery in the middle, and it will invite your user to either download from the App Store or Google Play Store, and it will have a link to the web browser at the very bottom of the email. Again, Katie, what you can do if you want your emails to actually be directed from your university directly, we do have the toggle in the university dashboard under the invite section for community, and you can toggle off that toggle so that the email is not going out, but you are sending the invite, and then you would need to provide your user with a notification via email or otherwise, just to let them know that they've now been invited to your community. Can we assign admin rights to an ambassador? You can't assign admin rights to an ambassador, Paula, so you would need to have your separate ambassadors and admins, but they wouldn't have the same rights in terms of community. Gen B, I would love to see the option of being able to send a link would be, yeah. Absolutely, definitely can take that on board, Jen. And if you would be happy to, if you would like to direct to your university dashboard, to the chat bubble where you can reach me or any of the members of my team, we're able to give you a feedback form, or we can actually have feedback submitted directly through the university dashboard. And our feedback does direct specifically to our product team who take on this feedback and you know, develop it and put it in their roadmaps. And so that's hopefully something that we can see in future. So please don't be afraid to submit feedback, because of course it really helps us with planning next steps. Is there any plan for this function to eventually require an extra cost, or is it built into the normal subscription package? That's from Audrey Savage. Because I'm from the customer support side of customer success, I wouldn't have much information on this, Audrey. What I would advise is to direct that specific question regarding cost and subscription to your customer success manager, who would definitely be able to give you some more information on that. But as it stands, I know that community is free to you. So Diana found it, but I am alone in the chat. So at the moment, Diana, depending on if your users are using the community, you should be able to see some previous messages. If they've not begun using your community, then it would look as if there's no chat in there. If your users have been invited but not actually logged in to your community as of yet, then when you look at the users, you would see that it's only you in there. So I would advise just checking in with anyone that you've invited in order for them to actually begin using the groups, and then you'll actually see that area populate, and you'll start seeing users in that group with you, and you won't be alone. I hope that helps, Diana. Apilash asks, can I administer the prospect in a community? For example, removing prospect without having to report a message. I mean, what I just want to remove someone, but not because they sent a bad message. So you would still use the report function. It's not the same as reporting from, let's say, the ambassador dashboard or the ambassador chats. It doesn't block that user from your whole platform. It will just remove that user from your community. So the function of report is slightly different on community than how we use the report function in the main dashboard or the ambassador dashboard. I hope that helps, Abhilash. Katie G asks, is there a way to mass upload the people we want to invite to go out to? If so, we upload the data twice and accidentally include the same email on both uploads, would the invite go out twice? So we don't currently have a way to mass upload. It is just that invite feature. So we would be inviting per email address. So I don't think there's a way that would accidentally happen. If that was developed in the future, what's likely to happen is you would get that sort of error message that you usually see in the usual invite instance, where it will tell you that that email address has already been invited, so you would not be able to re-invite. But currently, Katie, no, we don't have a way to mass upload. Anna Brown asks, do you have any examples of how other universities has successfully used community? So Anna, it's a really great question. I know that case studies are being developed because community is still quite a new product for us that we're showcasing today. I know that we're still building that, but we will have those case studies for you very shortly. So please do feel free to reach out to your customer success manager, who would be able to share those with you. So I'm just having a look through. Is there a way to check that the invite has been received to avoid double sending? That's, sorry, Irina from Hunter College. So at the moment, if you send that invite out and you've toggled that email on, your user will receive that invite as long as the email address is put in there. If you do re-invite, you would receive that email again. However, it would not create any sort of double accounts because your user would be able to set up one account using that email address. So the specific email address that you've sent the invite to would be the email address that they would need to use to either create an account. And of course, if they've already got a pre-existing account, that would be the account they use to log into Community. Audrey Savage asks, can you delete a community entirely once it's created? You absolutely can delete your community. If you delete your community in the university dashboard, I will state that there isn't a way to get that back. So there is that sort of additional security of having to retype your community name when you request the deletion of your community. Abhilash asks, do ambassadors chatting on groups have their time reported as well? So yes, this would also contribute to time spent. The time spent report will have this contributed. Paula asks, can we have group chats with only prospective students? So currently, the groups that you will see in Community will be open to all of the users in that community. So what I would suggest, Paula, if you want to have specific groups that are only open to prospective students, would be creating your secondary community. Within creating that secondary community, you would have the option to only invite prospective students to that community, and then only those invited prospective students will have the ability to view those groups. Can prospective students see all of the groups that we have, or can we just invite them to the one? So that's Oliver. Thank you, Oliver, for your question. As I said earlier, just at the moment, currently, if you invite those prospective students to your community, they'll have the option to view all of the groups in that community, but you do have that option to create a secondary community if you wanted to have those prospective students and ambassadors in a place where your groups are for prospective students and ambassadors, and then you could have a primary group that is only has ambassadors invited. I hope that helps there. Follow up, is there, this is from Audrey, I can't find a setting to delete a community on our dashboard. I would be happy to go over that with you, Audrey, and just show you that. If you want to pop us a quick question through to the support team, we can go over that. That will be through the chat bubble in your university dashboard. Irina asks, is there a way to figure out what messages, if any, have been unanswered in Community outside of just checking each group daily? Similar to unanswered message on Unibuddy. What you will see in your Community inbox area is the last message update. So you will see the last message in that group. You would need to go into that group to see the messages that are unanswered. Essentially what you should be seeing once all your users are in the group and chatting back and forth is that messages are being replied to, because we do have that reply feature. So you should be seeing that messages are being replied to. If you're now seeing that messages aren't replied to, then to be able to see that, you would need to actually check in those groups. Mark Larkin, can you have prospective students all in one community that can have private chats with ambassadors that other students cannot see. So exactly that, you can create secondary communities where you can just have your prospective students in one community, and the groups will only be available to those prospective students that you have invited. Nobody else would have the ability to actually see the groups in that community besides those that are invited. So that's one way of doing that, Matt. So I hope that helps. Kate, can I double check that I heard correctly? The time spent on the community by ambassadors is recorded. Is that the main ambassador dashboard? I believe that is correct, Kate. What we can do is double check that with our product team, but that should be correct. That time spent should all, the time spent feature should draw from the main chat platform and chatting in community. Megan asks, great question, Megan. Is it possible to post pictures in chat? So currently there's not the ability to post pictures. However, that is a really good idea. So again, I would definitely be happy to take some feedback on that, Megan, if you'd be happy to pop us a live chat on the university dashboard on the chat bubble. Would be very much happy to take some feedback on that so we can raise that with our product team. That's a really great idea. Would that mean, so Matt's asked, would that mean multiple communities and not multiple groups within one community? So you can have multiple communities and you can have multiple groups within those communities. So there's no upper limit to how many groups you can have per community. So you may have a community for ambassadors and prospects and a secondary community for just prospects, but there's no limit to how many groups each of those communities can have. Audrey asks, is there a way for a student in community who wants to have a private chat with an ambassador to be smoothly directed to the normal university platform? There's not currently a link for them to move over into a private chat. The community platform is an open chat platform. So that would remain there if the prospect and the ambassador wanted to then have a chat via the main platform. They would need to, again, you follow the same process of chatting through the main widget or traffic drivers. Lorraine has asked, is there a way to host virtual events from the community platform? So currently there's not a way to host virtual events from the community platform. The microsite and webinar experience are the live virtual events platforms that we have are separate from community. However, I think that again is a really great idea, Lorraine. So if you'd be happy to submit some feedback on that, would be really happy to raise that. I think that's also a really, really great idea. Becky has asked, will there be any analysis functions in the communities, e.g. conversation topics, countries of origin of prospect? So currently, Becky, that's not something that we have. However, that again, really great idea. It's not something that we currently have in there, but it is something that I'm sure our product team would be really interested in knowing that that's something that where universities are needing or wanting. So again, if you'd be happy to submit feedback on that, would be really happy to take it. And Oliver's asked, in terms of number of groups, is there an optimum number which you would recommend? For example, is it advisable to split it down by course? To be honest, I would say there's not an optimum number that we would advise. What I would say is just to ensure that depending on how many prospects you are inviting, just to ensure that you have the capacity in terms of ambassadors and admins to ensure that those chats are being answered and they're getting those responses. So, and of course, just to remind you, community is open 24 hours. There's no on and off time for your communities. So day and night, you want to be able to ensure that prospects are getting replies to the questions they might be asking in your groups and in your community. So you want to ensure that you have those ambassadors able to sort of be on there and readily able to answer questions that are coming in. Irina asks, what happens if we delete a chat on the UX side? Will students be notified, or will they just not be able to find that community again? So if you delete the community, if the community is deleted, then there's not a notification, but they wouldn't be able to use, when they logged in, that community wouldn't be there on their login. Yeah, so I'm going to just advise, so just quickly, if there are any further contract related questions or feedback regarding community, you can reach out to your customer success manager, who will be happy to assist you. If you do still have questions regarding community, you can use the chat bubble in your university dashboard to contact our team on support, who will be happy to answer questions regarding functionality or technical issues. Thank you so much for joining me today for our community how-to webinar, and have a lovely day.